Good evening, welcome to the Monday Night Fan Zone Show. My name's Phil. You're watching us live, or maybe you're watching us on playback, but if you're watching us live, don't forget you can get your views in, you can get your comments in. There's lots of things to discuss. It's nearly the end of the season, but of course, we want to talk tonight about Jamie Vardy. It's the end of an era, and we want to know your views on Jamie Vardy. We've got a brand new competition that we'll get stuck into where you can win a season's worth of pucker pies, all about Jamie Vardy. All you have to do is tell us what goal that was that Vardy scored when he celebrated like that. So, what do you want to talk about? Jamie Vardy, where's he going to go next? Should we have kept him for another season? What did you think to yesterday's send-off? Was it great? Was it a bit of a cover-up for us having such a poor season? I want your views and your comments in the next 30 minutes. And don't forget, I shared the link in the comments. You can click on it and come and tell us what you think live.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Yes, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can follow us at Leicester Fan TV on all the usual socials. Let's get as many comments on screen as we can as possible here. Craig says, good evening all. Great send-off for Vardy and the 200th goal to up the Foxes in there. Ian the Super Fox says, well done, Jamie Vardy. Fairy tale ending. 100% he deserved that ending to his time at Leicester City. And a win and 3 points as well. 200 goals, 500 games. 13 years I'll add to that as well, Ian. A true club legend. He is, Ian, the biggest, the best ever. I don't think there's much of a debate there, is there? Andy, good evening to you. Hope you're well. Matty, hope you're well. Rodriv, good evening, good evening. Don't forget, if you want to come on, you can click on the link and you can tell us your views live, or just put it in the comments. If you want to be a keyboarder, you can get them in there. Nick, good evening. Hope you're well. Andy, this is definitely a question we'll cover in this evening's show. Who's going to replace him? I think that's a great question, so we'll come on to that. Richie, hope you're well. Hope you're still getting better and better every week, Richie. Good win yesterday, he says, for Leicester City, and I will miss Jamie Vardy playing for Leicester City. 13 years. It does feel like that portion of our lives is now done. Maybe it needed to be done so that we can have a reboot, a refresh, and get on with it. Dawn says, great day yesterday and a very good send-off. Terry, hope you're well. Terry, thanks for sorting AD out with that ticket. Fan to fan, helping fans out, get to the game. Shh, don't tell the club. Tony says, great send-off for Vards. Not sure why the players had to go around the pitch with him. I mean, it was interesting when this year's players came back out. I think that was pretty clearly booze, wasn't it? You know, and I kind of think fair enough. They've been rubbish. Mary, hope you're well. Good evening to you. Terence says, where's he going to go next? With away fans at Bournemouth, I'll be there. Do you know what? I actually think he might be in the away end. His missus has been in the away end the last few games, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie Vardy is having a party in the Bournemouth Leicester fans. Dawn says, what an emotional day. I shed a tear. I don't think you're the only one, Dawn, either, because you just think of what he's done while he's been with us. What is it? The Premier League, 2 championship trophies, FA Cup, Community Shield, European, nights, everything. It was all there. The best 13 years of my Leicester City life, without a shadow of a doubt. Andy says, a great send-off for Vards. Andy Medhurst says, what a great day, and Leicester did him proud. I'm going to ask you, Andy, I want to know, I don't want to put a dampener on it, but was it all a bit of a PR cover-up yesterday for such a bad season? I don't want to be moaning misery, but I just felt like was it all a bit weird having 30,000 flags and banners and everything, and really we were getting relegated? Is it the sort of thing that only Leicester could do? I saw quite a few comments on social media from fans from other clubs, not that I really care what they think, but actually saying, what are Leicester fans doing? Okay, it's Jamie Vardy's last game, but you got relegated. Tony says a very negative team selection yesterday. Lucky to get the 3 points. I think we well edged it. We're going to get Reedy on very shortly. He'll let us know what he thinks. Andy says, yeah, statue on the cards. We put a post out about that. I think so. We did. I'll have a quick look on Twitter, literally live for you now, Andy, because we put a poll out earlier on our Twitter feed. And I'm just going to see what the latest results are. We said, and I want to know your views on it as well, to mark Jamie Vardy, should we name a stand after him? That's option 1. 31% of fans said, yes, we should name a stand after him. We haven't really named any of the stands, have we yet? It's just the King Power Stadium. Am I missing? I mean, you've got the North Stand. None of the stands are particularly named, are they? So that was option 1. Build a statue was option 2, and that's got 62%. I think we did a little mock-up of him holding the Premier League trophy as a statue, and that's gone out on socials. That to me seems the obvious one. I know we've got a Vichai statue out there, but we really could do with something to commemorate the fact we did win the Premier League. It's 10 years next year, so let's get it sorted. A few people suggested we could retire the number 9 shirt. Birmingham's done it for Jude Bellingham when he was only like 16, 17, they sold him. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I think the number 9 shirt is something proud. I've known plenty of number 9s at my time in Leicester, and Jamie Vardy is the best of them all. But I want to see that number 9 shirt, and that's part of the debate tonight. Who is going to wear that number 9 shirt next? Anyway, let us know what you think we should do to mark what Jamie Vardy's done. I'm going to add in Mr. Reed now. Here comes Reedy. Good evening, Reedy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Reedy. Let's start with what would you go for? A statue, name a stand, retire the number 9 shirt. What would you do, if anything, to mark Jamie Vardy long term?
I think the first definite one is a statue. Again, even if he had half of his career, I think for me he deserves a statue. But I will definitely say, and this is my personal opinion, I would retire that 9 shirt because, in my opinion, and yes, there might be someone in the future who could be just as good as him, which I very much doubt it, but I don't want to see the likes of Daka in the number 9 shirt because it would just ruin the number 9 legacy of it. So for me,
well, Reedy, I don't want to see Daka in a Leicester shirt.
No, but either way,
on the back of it.
But either way, that's what I'm saying. There's any sort of Leicester player who could be wearing that 9 just won't live up to that number 9 spot for us now. So for me, like Dawn says, no one else can wear that number 9 shirt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like, I obviously remember lots of, I mean, people can put in here other great number 9s. None of them are as good as Jamie Vardy, but there's plenty of Leicester number 9s who've worn that shirt. And I don't know, maybe it's a mark of respect to retire the shirt, but I don't know. I think handing the shirt on is part of what we want to talk about. Yeah, Dawn says no one else can wear the number 9. Richard says no way. Number 9 is to inspire, not retire. I like that. I tend to agree with what Richard says. You know, I'd like to see whoever comes in next. Yes, there'll be pressure on their shoulders to wear Jamie Vardy's number 9 shirt, but hopefully that inspires them to play half as good as him. Linda says, why can't we name a stand and a statue? For me, I think the statue for Vardy, Reedy, with him there holding the Premier League trophy above his head, a bit like our mock-up earlier, that to me, that's the winner. We should be celebrating the fact we won the Premier League trophy. It will be 10 years next year. And Jamie Vardy, I think it goes back together, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think either a statue of him with the trophy, or the only other thing you could probably do, which is classic Jamie Vardy, is a celebration of some sort, whether it's the cup in the ears or doing the eagle or something like that. That'd be quite funny to do as well. But again, like I said, the trophy's the main one. But even if it's just him standing there, as long as we have some sort of memorabilia or a bit of a remembrance of him at the ground now, obviously we'll always remember him, but something like that would be always brilliant.
Patrick says the statue will get trashed. I don't think it will, Patrick. No. I tell you, when I go to Nottingham from time to time, I see the statue of Cloughy. I never crosses my mind. I always look at it and go, yeah, good manager. I think people respect other players and other managers. I think even though Vardy's always gets lots of stick from the away fans, really, or when we play away, the home fans. He always gets stick. But I think most football fans would actually go, do you know what? He was non-league. Leicester took a chance on him, and he stuck it out for 13 years. There's not many players nowadays who move because he's not from Leicester. It's not like, I mean, there were the Liverpool fans really were booing Trent Alexander-Arnold the other game because he's going to Real Madrid, and he's a Liverpool lad. I don't think many fans would not give Vardy credit for actually sticking at one club and turning down Arsenal like he did.
No, of course not. Why wouldn't you? It's like we were talking today about where do you think he'll go next, and obviously there's no question on where he's going to go at the moment because we don't know. But for me, even though he's not from Leicester, he's Leicester. Like that's the thing is he's not from Leicester, but he is Leicester. He said he loves the club, and it's only that this is his only club he's ever wanted to be at now. So again, there's no way about it in the fact of him ever thinking about him not being Leicester or not wanting to go for the money. Like, in my opinion, he's not going for the money. He's going because he's probably 13 years, and it's what a perfect way to end it with 500 games and 200 goals. And like I say, 13 years on the day. So what a way to end it off. And now he can move on to, if he thinks he can still do it wherever he goes, fair enough. But I do think it's probably the right time for him to go.
Dawn says here, didn't agree with the chance yesterday of sacked the board. Yesterday was all about Vards, really. What's your take on what Dawn says there?
Completely agree. Like, I get the point of it. It's happened since, the Arsenal game when they started first talking about protesting and whatnot. The one game you don't do it is at the one game where we were trying to send Vardy off. And especially when, I don't know what the announcer's name was. He obviously does journalism, and I can't remember his name right now, but
Rob Dorset, wasn't it?
That's it. Yes, that's it. But yeah, when he asked him final words, what you want to say to the fans, and everyone, not everyone, I'm not going to mention who, but we know who it was, singing, rocking out, and all that. It wasn't needed. It wasn't meant to. It shouldn't be happening on that sort of game. Ruin the atmosphere in a way, in my opinion. And yeah, it was the day to say bye to Vardy, and there was no need for it, in my opinion.
I mean, as people, some people may or may not know, I do work in marketing, really, as do you, and I feel cynical because I kind of think the club has pulled off a marketing and PR masterpiece yesterday by ending a woeful season. I'm not sure on record if it's our worst ever top flight division. I'm not sure if we're just about going to escape that, but it's one of our worst ever performances in the top division ever. And I think to end it with 30,000 fans waving flags and doing rounds of applause and that, it kind of felt celebratory, which of course it was for Jamie Vardy. But the cynical bit of me goes, last year they didn't do any of this when Vardy was effectively leaving because he didn't have a contract with us. Maybe they knew that they were going to sign him, but when he did the thing in the town centre, he was asked the question live in front of the fans, are you going to stay another year? And he said, it's not up to me. I don't know. I got this feeling that it was a PR masterstroke to get relegated and get 30,000 fans waving flags.
I'd never looked at it that way. Again, when we first heard him announce that he was going, we maybe thought that's one way to kind of ignore the relegation and whatnot. But again, I think yesterday for me was just not that at all. I think it was about saying bye to probably the best player we're ever going to see in the Leicester shirt, and the way we did it was fantastic. You've seen the video, you've seen the photos of it. It was quality, and even the little flags that we got, just a little memorabilia to remember him, and it was brilliant. So for me, I get the point of what you're saying, and it probably is. Again, no one's really spoke about relegation since Vardy's announced he's left because it's all about Vardy and all that. They
completely spun it to the Vardy.
And the way they did announce that we all relegated, with not actually saying the word relegated, it was more our next season will be in the Championship. I get the point of it, but yesterday for me, no, there was no going around the flag or around the area to stop talking about relegation. For me, it was just about saying goodbye to Vardy yesterday.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Michael says here, PR masterclass. I actually think it was Michael, but obviously everybody still wants to give their best to Vardy. But it felt like the club went, balls deep in it to cover up what has been a woeful season. And I do sort of understand why two things really. There was a bit of Rudkin out chance. I understand that. But I also, when the Leicester team, the 2024-25 team came back out, there was clearly boos.
Well, when you're announcing the likes of Wes Morgan and Okazaki and all that, you probably understand it. But for me, like I said, because it was that one game where like, even if we lost the game against Ipswich, as long as Vardy scored and he made what he wanted to happen, for me it didn't matter. And I just felt so like them little things. As much as I get the point of it, obviously the Rudkin chance and the boos, it was not about that yesterday, in my opinion. But
no, I get that. I mean, as Patrick says here, we need 3 more points to equal our lowest points in the top.
I think it's 2.
Patrick,
I think it's 2 to equal and 3 to be above it. I think so.
Well, thanks for putting that in, Patrick. I know this is probably one of our worst ever seasons, so it is in there. It is the end of an era, like we've put on there. So keep getting your comments put in there. Quick question for everybody. I want to know your views on it. Vardy obviously still feels he can play at, and he's talked about Premier League level. We will talk about where will Vardy go next, but I just want to stick to this one at the moment. Should we have kept Vardy, Reedy? It's back in the chat. He scored 10 goals this season, I think, in the Premier League and Cup. He clearly wants to keep playing, and he says he can perform at the highest level. Now, my only assumption is he would have stayed at Leicester in the Championship because he stayed at Leicester last year in the Championship. So maybe the money's not right. I don't know, but should we have kept him for the champ? He's the best striker we won't have for next season.
Yeah,
I won't find anybody better for next year than Jamie Vardy.
No, I said a few months ago, I said if we were, depending on what league we're in next year, if we're in the Premier League, I would have let him go. I think
agree.
In the Championship, I would have kept him for 1 extra year, just so he can try and bring us back up like he did last year and get us back to the big time before he left again. Because again, last year, we were thinking, is he going to go? Because again, he's got us back to the Premier League and now is probably the right time for him to leave. This year, again, absolute shower of horseshit in a way. So it is what it is. And now I probably would have given 1 more year in the Championship, but like a lot of people have said as well, I've seen that we needed a reset. And I think I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but one big issue in the club was the fact that Vardy had a big say in what a lot of things happened at the club.
That's what Terry's saying here. Vardy's a big blocker and needs to go. Yeah,
and he was a blocker for all the players coming in. He was a voice in the club saying that do managers get sacked or this or that. As much as we liked it because we know how loyal he is to us, he probably did need to go because he was 38 and we can't keep relying on him. We've got to find that new player or a new captain in the club now to try to move forward with our future, because Vardy isn't our future anymore. Now it's someone else.
I mean, Andy says there personally, Andy says thought should have got rid of Vardy 2 years ago, and he's blocked other strikers from coming into the clubs. Sadly, no, right time for Vardy to move on and frees up money for wages in there. Terry says left us on 500 games, 200 goals. He wants about 10 Premier goals to be in the top 10 strikers there. Nick says too much of a burden on the wage bill. Yeah, Nick, I don't think for a second we'd have offered him 140. But if he would have accepted it, you could have offered him 40 or 50 grand a week for one season. I just think you wouldn't have for say 50 grand a week. Quickly doing the maths over a year, that's about 2.5-3 million quid. You're not going to go and buy a striker who'll get you as many goals as Jamie Vardy in the Championship next year for 3 million quid. Maybe he wouldn't accept that. I don't know, Reedy. Andy says biggest problem now is replacing him. Dawn says the right time for him to go. Alex says hopefully this is a wake-up call the club needs. Brad, good evening. Hope you're well. Brad says no, it's the right time for Vardy to leave. Need to reset from the top. But that's part of the thing, Reedy. I'm not sure this. If Brad says they're reset from the top, so I'm just going to change the banner there. The reset from the top, for me, what Brad is talking about there is potentially people like Susan Whelan, Rudkin, manoeuvring or moving or going. And I'd say the same for Rude. And I actually think, this is my prediction to you, Reedy, I think Susan Whelan will stay where she is. John Rudkin will stay where he is. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy will stay where he is. So I think the top three bits, including Top himself, the pyramid, I think is going to stay exactly the same for next season.
I agree. Again, until we know anything more, Ruud is in charge until next season. And again, I think the biggest part of the reset for me was letting Vardy go or him leaving and whatnot. Because again, as much as we loved him and we respect him so much for being so loyal to us, I think it we were calling it 4 or 5 years ago, saying is he good enough still, or he's getting a bit older now. So now he's gone. It's just about looking at the future, and if the new striker for next season is Daka, again woeful for a Premier League for a Championship season. I don't know, because we're never going to be able to place Vardy, are we? So it's about who can step into that role and do a 50% job of what he does. That's the issue. Like, anyone who goes into that spot now probably won't do half of the amount that Vardy can do for us. So it's just about doing what we can do to make it the best.
Yeah, Andy says here we need a very good director of football. Listen, I'm not calling for John Rudkin to go at all. I think it needs a freshen up in there. He might need to be moved to the side. He might need some help. He might need an assistant or somebody next to him or above him. I'm not calling for anybody's head here, but I think it does need a freshen up. When things have gone stale, it's gone stale. Ivan says, I think you're right, Phil, apart from Ruud, they will part company next week. A lot of people are saying that. I've got a feeling that, again, I don't want to get into a Ruud debate, but I think it could very much happen there. We'll find out on July the 1st if Ruud stays, but you just think we've got a whole month before then, Patrick. Leaves it so late if we do it there. TJ says Vardy's been great and we all wish him he could do it forever, but we have to find another way to be a great club now. I don't see anything massive happening unless we intentionally breach PSR, although I hear we're all right on PSR. Tom has clicked on the link. Let's get Tom in. Thanks for coming in, Tom. Hope you're well, Tom. Are you all right?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Tom, obviously we've been talking about it's the end of an era with Vardy. Was it the time to go? Just quickly, quick couple of things to catch up on. Would you have kept Vardy, Tom, for another season, or is the time right?
How many more times do we keep saying the questions? Do we give one more year? Do we give one more year? Would I give him 1 year? Yeah, because I think he scored enough goals in the Championship last time. I think with the options we've got at the moment, Daka, and that is about it, then yeah, give him a go. But there comes a point where we have to move on and look for another striker, and that's going to be the main aim in the summer, to go and find that striker that gets you back to the Premier League.
I know, Tom, you took your lad yesterday to the match, so I would think from his point of view, from Henry's point of view, it was fantastic to experience the flags and the scenes, the Vardy. I'm a bit cynical. I don't know if it was the biggest PR cover-up in the world for a very poor season, or do you think it's justified for Vardy?
I think it was justified. I understand where you're coming from. I think it was special for Henry to see how much the club has, meant to Jamie Vardy and how much the fans meant to him. Having been there at Torquay when he scored his first goal, to be there yesterday to see him score his last goal meant a lot to me personally. And yeah, like I say, look, it's been a poor season, but Vardy deserved that send-off. Whatever happened, I think it was quite interesting, the reaction to the fans, with players coming out to give the guard of honour that they actually were getting booed. They were booed when
the current team, yeah.
The current team got booed, and it was quite also that John Rudkin stayed in the stand out the way. He didn't come down to pitch side. He clearly stayed in the stand. You could see from where I was sitting that he was up there out the way, and we kept out the way for that. So, but yeah,
I think that makes sense. So we're kind of split. People are split between whether we should have kept Vardy, let him go. It was clearly a good send-off. I want to just quickly have a debate on where we think Jamie Vardy will go. So, Tom, I'll start with you on that. Oh, we've lost Tom. He's come, he's gone. We'll get him back in. Really, you and me can do that then. I'm going to pitch out to that, and I put it on a tweet earlier. Will he end up in the MLS? Will he end up in Saudi? Will he end up at a Premier League side? And if so, which one? Do you know what? It came to me. I've seen actually somebody put that he could go to Rangers. I disagree. I think he could go to Celtic. I'll tell you why. Brendan Rodgers is at Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel's at Celtic. Jeff Schlupp's there as well. But at Celtic, which is a massive club in Scotland, obviously, and worldwide, 60,000 fans pack into the Celtic ground every week. They're probably going to win the Scottish title and a cup. They're in the Champions League and did well in the Champions League this year. I think they got to the last 16. And I think they'd probably pay him enough for one season. I think you get adored at Celtic, and I think it's an easier league than the Premier League. I could imagine him banging in a hatful of goals for one season. So I'm going to say, I don't see why it ended up at Celtic. What about you, everybody watching? Where do you think he'll go next? And Reedy, where do you think?
It would have been funny to see him go to somewhere like Wrexham. I don't think he will, because it means
I hope to God he doesn't go to Wrexham.
No, I hope to God he doesn't.
For our sake, because I don't want to play him.
I think for the PR side of what Wrexham are doing at the moment, and they probably are the only team in other than the Premier League that can afford him at the moment. I don't think he will, because it means we'll be playing him against next season. I think if there was any chance of him going away anywhere, I think it would be MLS, but I don't know which team, because I'm thinking about maybe it could be into Miami, where someone like Messi and Suarez are playing, but you don't think he'd get into that sort of side with them two there. But then I'm trying to think maybe in LA Galaxy, but they look like they're in awful form at the moment, so I don't know. As long as he doesn't play in the Championship and certain teams in the Premier League, I don't really mind where he goes, and I don't think he will go to Saudi. I will say that. I don't think he will.
Somebody did say to me once, can he even play in America, because you need a work permit, and obviously we all know Mr. Vardy did have some issues earlier on in his life and had to famously play football with the tag on, and they didn't know if that might actually affect him going to the MLS. That's just what I was hearing. But Harry is saying Inter Miami there. Matt says Bournemouth, that's why he ain't playing Sunday. It's Matt, as you say that, I've seen a few people say Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, Wolves. I actually think Villa's another decent shout, because if he went to Villa, he wouldn't need to move house. They're either in Europa League or Champions League. Some of these teams who make the Europa League they have a lot of games, and a lot of them are some funny places with travel not being good, as we remember. So he could go to somebody who's in Europe, I think. Simon actually says, I think Vardy will go Villa. I think that's a shout. Nathan says Celtic, Wrexham for the history to made. Outside bet Arsenal as a support striker. He could end up at Arsenal or Man U, just because somebody will look at him and go, do you know what? For about 3 or 4 million quid's worth of wages for his season, that's somebody to have on the bench, Reedy.
Hey, someone like Man United will need him. Their strike force at the moment is absolutely woeful. Vardy would double what their goal scorers at the moment are. They're 16th or 17th for a reason. They're not scoring goals, and their 2 or 3 strikers they've got are not even worth £20. So someone like Vardy will absolutely kill it there. But the way they're playing and the way the club is going at the moment downwards, for me, he won't go anywhere near them two. For me, he will go for someone like a Celtic, where he can go back to his ex-players and with Rodgers, or I think he will go abroad. But like I said yesterday, and even after the game, he said he doesn't know what's to come next. He doesn't know himself. So
I hope Mary's right. As I agree with Mary, as long as it's not Chelsea, I'd hate to see him go to Chelsea out of all the clubs. I mean, obviously Enzo would know what he's like, but jeepers creepers, I don't detest anybody more now than Chelsea at the moment. So I hope it's
as long as Chelsea beat Forest in the last game of the season.
No, I'd rather see Forest do it than Chelsea.
No.
I don't want Enzo to do anything. I can't stand it. I'd rather Chelsea miss out and Forest get there, because Forest will have done it on a far smaller budget. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, I hate Forest up to here, but I just.
So you hate Forest less than Enzo now? Surely after the years you supported Leicester, you can't just have a hate for Enzo.
I don't know what it is. Enzo is now in the same bracket as, I'm going to say a name to Reedy. Everybody watching this, most of them watch Reedy's face when I say this name. But I dislike Enzo Maresca now as much as Mark McGee. You see nothing from Reedy. See what Mark McGee. Yeah, that's my feeling. It's just the same sort of like Oh, Judas.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He left us.
For a
He got us
better
promoted
club.
and then did one straight off.
For a better
First thing
club.
that flashed their little things at him, he was off.
And he's doing well.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Right,
Mary says
Chelsea.
her husband's a Chelsea fan. Ali McCoy said it on TalkSport. Ali McCoy said it'd be good for him to go Rangers. I think people are just starting to bid for him now a little bit. Dan says depends if he wants to be a starter, America, or be backup and sit on the bench, Premier team. If he could get in somewhere like you say into Miami, one of these, Red Bull, New York. I mean, crikey, why? Go somewhere exciting for the last year of your season, the last season of your year, wouldn't you? But you're in there. Craig says yes, 2 traitors. Andy says less than Jermaine Beckford. I don't know. Call you Mark McGee, Jermaine Beckford, Enzo Maresco. If you had to, what's it? I'm not going to do the old saying. What would you do with those 3? TJ says he agrees. Ivan says I think Chelsea and Forest will miss out on the top 5 finish. Ivan, that would be perfect. If you could get that arranged for me.
Or Chelsea get to the top 4 so Enzo can have a clout.
No.
Oh, I love him, mate. I love him. What a manager.
I think Celtic with Brendan. I agree. That's why I think you could go there. Or Charlotte with Christian Fuchs. Is Christian Fuchs still playing, Reedy?
No, I think he's either
coach.
A coach or a manager or someone like that. Because I've checked their team recently to see what the team's like, and he's not playing.
And of course, Terry's right. It should be not Red Bull, he says there, but New York Red Bulls, shouldn't they? Be perfect. Think of the PR. Really.
Yeah. You could get an unlimited supply of Red Bull. Yeah.
Mind you, think of the PR if he went to Leeds United. Now Leeds is actually an option for him as well because it's 90 minutes up the M1.
But the problem is
Red Bull, aren't
they? The biggest issue about that is if he went to there and actually did enough to keep someone like Leeds up, that's not good for us. That we want us to get up and them to come back down.
I think he'll only go somewhere for 1 season. I think at 39.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go more than 1 year from anywhere. I think he'll finish at 40 at least.
Yeah, indeed. Phil Upton says Mrs. Vardy wants Hollywood. There was talk that she's been offered a reality TV estate agents show out there, and that's why it could be America.
Maybe so.
Dean Smith is manager at Charlotte.
Yeah, he is. Well, I'll tell you that.
Doing quite well, Reedy.
I don't know how well they're doing, but yeah. And I'll tell you another thing that I saw today. Ranieri came out of retirement to go and manage Roma.
Roma, yeah.
Yes, while they're in the bottom 3 at the start of this season. He went on an unbeaten streak of 18 games. Maybe we should have gone for someone like him instead of Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Really, you know my opinion. We should have gone for anybody apart from Ruud van Nistelrooy, but maybe that's hindsight. We did say he was an exciting one.
Instead of an 18-game losing streak, we should go for 18-game unbeaten streak.
Yeah, I know. Right, we're going to end this in a minute with 3 words to describe Vardy. I'm putting it in now. Right, so I want just finish this off. Put everybody who's watching live, which is lots of you, and if you're watching this on playback, just put in 3 comments to describe Jamie Vardy. And while you're thinking of those, and while Reedy's thinking of those words, we've got a new competition, which is exactly here. Now, to enter this and win a season's worth of Pucker Pies, thanks to our pals at Pucker Pie, all you've got to do is tell us what Jamie Vardy goal was that he was celebrating. It's a pretty famous one. Many of us will remember it as one of the best. But which goal was it? So if you want to enter that as well, make sure you do on our socials as well, and let us know what you think to that. So you can enter that. That's thanks to all the people at Pucker Pies. But Reedy, let's finish this off. Let's get 3 words to describe Vardy. Go on then, Reedy. Give us 3 words.
Legend, GOAT, loyal.
3 Reedy. You've done well with those 3 words. I'd definitely go with loyal. I wasn't thinking of that, but I think that is loyalty in today's world of football is almost 0%.
Foxes is good. I was going to mention that word, but it's kind of 2 words, so I can't.
Loyal, goals. Goat. That would be mine
There you
for
go.
him.
You can't. I
Loyal,
think Goat's got to be one of the
Goat.
three. That's why I couldn't do the one that Foxy said in King of Shithousery. You can't really use that if it's 3 words.
Yeah, indeed.
You've got to
in
use
here.
the word goat in one of them.
I like Richie. He couldn't use 3, he's used 4, but that's only because he used very twice. Very, very good, Vardy. That's fine. Simply the best, says Andy. Passion, fight, leader. Goat, legend, Mr. Leicester, says Dawn. Absolutely bloody amazing, says Michael in there. Jamie Vardy goal at West Brom away. That's Richie having a guess at that. Simply the best, says TJ Chapman. Grandad, done good. Okay. Thanks, Keith. Thank you, Vards. King of Shithousery. I quite like that one, actually. From
That's what I'm saying. But you've got to have goat in there. I think you can't not have goat.
Maybe the goat of Shithousery. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
The striker supreme, a true legend, loyal legend, Shithousery. Yeah, quite good. Thoughtful, proper striker, greatest Foxes striker. My 3 words. Thanks, Simon, in there. People love to have a go. I didn't even think Reedy could count to 3. Yeah, you can. We've taught you well, haven't we, Reedy? 1, 2, 4. Yeah.
2, 4.
Feed the goat. Dedication, loyal, and goat. Listen, everybody, thanks for all your 3 words there. Thanks. Oh, we'll give one more. We'll have one more from Anne. Thanks, Anne. True, loyal goat. That's pretty good, isn't it? Lots of good ones there. Anyway, listen, thanks so much. Don't forget, if you do want to have a go at that competition, you can enter it on any of our socials. You can win a season's worth of Pucker Pies. All you have to do is let us know, where was that goal scored? Which one was it? Very quickly, Reedy, your best ever Jamie Vardy goal. We didn't even do that tonight. We'll probably do these in the summer when we've got nothing to talk about and Rude's still in charge and we're buying rubbish. Carry on.
I think there's only one, and that's the Liverpool goal. I think there's only again, the only other one I could probably mention is the Man U one in the 5-3, but yeah. And
there was a good goal away at West Brom as well, Reedy. You remember the Greatest Escape one? Do you remember that one?
Which one?
One away at West Brom.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
That was a good goal. Anyway, thanks everybody who's watching. Thanks to Reedy for joining us. Thanks for Tom. We had him on for a few moments, but it was nice to get Tom on briefly until I think he was doing daddy daycare and got pulled away. But listen, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed yesterday. Hopefully it's the end of an amazing period, but it's the start of something new. We just need to see that. So we'll see you next Monday. Don't forget, this week, the Foxes Focus is looking forward to the trip to Bournemouth. Reedy and Sam will be live on Friday doing a tactics show and a bit of a pre-show. Thank you for that, Reedy. Obviously, on Sunday, we've got the Aftermath show, which is a pre-match show. And then I'll be back next Monday to talk about the Bournemouth game. We didn't even talk about the Ipswich game today because the reality was that the game was a nothing.
We didn't even need to talk about it, mate.
There was nothing much to talk about. I guess we were slightly better than a very, very poor Ipswich side. It was the battle of 2 crap teams, and we were slightly less crap on the day. But I suppose next season, that means we'll be hopefully better than them, better than Southampton. Trying to take positives. Anyway, I'll see you all very, very soon. See you soon. Cheers, Reedy.
Cheers.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Foxes Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.